I want to make a video today to continue on a video that I made yesterday. Yesterday I made a video where I talked about the footage of the LaVoy Finicum shooting. And in that video I talked about what I saw and what I think happened. Now, there's some people that have a problem with what I saw, and there's a lot of people that have a problem with what I think happened. Now, it's really not a lot of people. It's, some, because the video is still getting like an 85% approval rating. I thought it would get a lot less approval because I thought I would piss off the people on the right by saying that he got what he deserved, and I thought I would piss off people on the left by saying that there's nothing racist about this. So I thought it would really kind of maybe be a 50-50 split, but it didn't work out that way. Now, some people will say, you need to stick to gun videos because no one cares what you think. Well, I mean, other than the tens of thousands of people that have watched it already, including you who's commenting on it, well, and if you think that I should stick to gun videos, you obviously don't watch my channel because it's not really a gun channel, it's an opinion channel. It's a place where I can say whatever I want to say. It's one of the reasons I'm not sponsored, so that I can say what I want to say. And as to why I would even make that video or why I would make this video following up on it, it's because I don't think my videos are presentations. I think my videos are conversations. It's a conversation between me and my viewers. That's why I read my comments, respond to my comments, and make videos based on my comments. I like to talk to my viewers back and forth. Doesn't mean we always agree. In fact, it's usually more fun when we don't agree, but I like to have that conversation. I like to keep the lines of communication open. So in that spirit, I want to address some of the things people have said about the video I made yesterday. Some of the things I think are kind of ridiculous, some of the things that might have some merit, and some of the stuff that I think might be true. First off, I want to address this idea that this was a setup by the FBI, that they intended to kill him and that they were out to kill him. Well, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. There were 10 people. 8 of them got away with no injuries, 1 received a minor injury, and 1 person was killed. The 1 person that was killed said, I will never be taken alive. So I don't see how it's a setup to kill them all. If they wanted to kill them all, they would have. And if they were going to target just 1 person, why wouldn't they have targeted a Bundy? So that whole idea doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Another thing some people said about something I said in the videos where I said he almost hit an officer that leapt into the path of the vehicle. And they're like, well, that was the officer's fault. The officer was throwing himself in front of the vehicle so he would have reason to shoot. Well, I don't know anytime anybody throws themselves in front of a speeding truck just so they have a reason to shoot them, because I don't think you're going to live to shoot them if the truck would have kept moving. What that officer did was leap from behind a vehicle that was about to be rammed at high speed as far as he could tell. Well, LaVoy Finicum wasn't stopping. He was gunning it towards the roadblock. The guy was behind the car in the roadblock. I would have leapt out from behind it too. Would you have stayed behind the car that was about to get rammed? I don't think you would have. And as far as to whether it would have been LaVoy Finicum's fault if he ran over the officer, yeah, it would have still been his fault because he created the situation by not stopping. So whether it was negligence or intentional, it would have still been his fault. As far as I'm concerned, once he decided to charge a police barricade at high speed while armed and saying he isn't going to be taken alive, it became fair game to take him off the board right then and there. Now, a lot of the other comments people made have to do with the actual shooting itself and whether he's reaching for a gun in his waistband while it happens. Well, a lot of people are saying, well, he couldn't have possibly been reaching for a gun on his left-hand side because he always carries on his right-hand side. Some people even said he's left-handed, so why would he be reaching with his right hand for a gun if he's left-handed? Well, I don't think the idea of him being left-handed is very likely, because if you do see pictures when he is open carrying, he's open carrying a drop leg holster with a revolver in it, and that's a good choice, I like revolvers, on his hip at the 4 o'clock position on his right side. If you're left-handed, that'd be like the worst place you could possibly carry a gun. So I would have to assume from where he carries his revolver that he's right-handed. And as far as reaching for a gun on his left-hand side, why wouldn't the gun be on his right hip where it always is? Well, if you look at some pictures of him, he does carry on his left side in a shoulder holster quite often. In fact, in some of the pictures, he's got what appears to be a 9mm pistol in a shoulder holster on his left side. And for those of you that say, well, he'd still have a gun in a drop leg holster on his right-hand side while he's driving the truck, well, you've either never carried a drop leg holster or you've never driven a vehicle, because no, you wouldn't do that. Anyone that knows anything about guns knows if you wanted to have your gun at the ready while driving, it definitely wouldn't be in a drop leg holster. That would be very uncomfortable. You would move the gun either to a left inside pocket of your jacket, your left waistband, a cross-draw holster, etc., or a left side shoulder holster. Now, some people say he wasn't even drawing a weapon at all. He was grasping at a wound when his hands went to his hip. Well, that doesn't make much sense. It's not supported by the video. If he was actually grasping at a serious wound, that would be an autonomic response. Both hands would act in unison, and they would pretty much stay there. Have you ever tried to take your hands off a wound when you're injured seriously? It's hard to do even consciously. His hands do not act together. One hand goes to remove a jacket, the other hand goes to his waistband. They're never acting together, and they don't stay there. When he's turning, his hands are out and about. He's still got his jacket out. He's not clutching anything. Plus, there's no response from his body whatsoever to being shot from a rifle. When you're shot by a rifle at close range, you're not going to be like, "Ooh, Lordy, I've been shot. Ooh, I've been shot again. Ooh, I've been shot again." You're not going to do that. You're going to, "Ooh, I've been shot," and your hands are going to stay there. Plus, there's no response from him in the video, no physical response that would show he was shot at close range with a rifle at any time. There's no seizing, there's no crumpling, there's no falling down, there's no nothing until the fatal shot is delivered. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't shot more than once or twice, because I would be willing to bet that when he turned to the other officer and they thought he had a gun in his hand, the officer in front of him shot him and the officer behind him shot him. Now, believe me, I don't give police the benefit of the doubt when it comes to shootings. If you watch my other videos, you know I'm very skeptical when they shoot someone, because I know police get away with murder all the time. The only time they get caught is when there's indisputable video evidence that they did something wrong, and even then they get off sometimes. In this case, there is video evidence, but it doesn't indicate they did anything wrong. There's just nothing in this video that would indicate he's grasping at a wound, or that he's injured, that he's been shot, anything until the time he drops. Now, some people say he was going for his weapon because he was told to drop the gun. He was told to drop his weapon. Well, that is possible. I can see where a police officer would tell him that. It would be a total breach of protocol. It wouldn't be the way to do that. You would tell him, get on the ground, face down, hands behind his head, and then you would disarm him. You wouldn't tell someone to get your gun out, then drop it. But I did once have a police officer tell me in a regular traffic stop, when he found out I was carrying, to take my gun out of my holster and sit it on my seat, which made the gun a lot more easy for me to access. So that was a stupid move on the officer's part. So I do know officers do stupid crap. And like I say, I don't always give them the benefit of the doubt, because I know they get away with a lot of crap. So that is possible. But even if that is possible and that happened, he still put himself in that situation where he's standing in a field with police officers with weapons drawn on him after he tried to ram them at high speed and tried to flee police previously, etc. He created this situation where he's now in grave danger. I'm not going to say the police don't get to shoot him simply because, they may have made a bad call, or someone on their team may have made a bad call. He was in a situation that he put himself in through a long string of really bad decisions, so I don't fault the FBI or the local police for that. But I will say that is a possibility. Maybe he was pulling his weapon from his waistband to drop it because the police were telling him to either get down or drop your weapon, etc. I also want to address the testimony from Victoria Sharp, the 18-year-old that was in the back of the truck that a lot of people say her testimony completely disputes everything the FBI says. Really? She's a credible source? An 18-year-old girl who was in the back seat of a crew cab truck that had a canopy on it, and she was between two grown adults, supposedly on the floorboard by her own testimony. She could see perfectly what was going on from there. Even if you were sitting upright in that back seat, you wouldn't have been able to see what was going on at the back side of the truck. You wouldn't have a good vantage point from there, much less with flashbangs going off and supposedly live fire going on around her. You would really trust her testimony, especially since she said she got on the floorboard as soon as it happened. So as far as her testimony is concerned, it's not credible at all. Just sorry, it's not. And as far as the truck being shot with hundreds and hundreds of rounds while they were inside of it after they took down Finicum, I don't see that happening. A lot of people are saying that. I don't see any glass breaking. I don't see any impacts on the truck. I do see one bullet entry point on the front windshield. At least that's what it appears to be in the video. But I would say that's probably from when he tried to ram the roadblock. I just don't see any evidence that supports that. I see lots of flashbangs, and plus, no one in the truck was injured. I don't see any glass broken out on the truck. That kind of makes it hard to believe that they were lighting the truck up with hundreds of rounds. Now, as far as Finicum himself is concerned, I want to say two things. There's two things people are saying about him that I want to address. One is that he was a conspirator, that he was working for the FBI, he was a plant. The first time someone said this, I was like, don't be stupid. I mean, how stupid can you be? How gullible can you be? The more I think about it, I still don't think it's likely. I don't think it's the truth, but I can see where some people would think that, and it would explain some things he said and some things he did, but I don't think it's likely. But if you want to believe that, go ahead and believe it. That just means no one got murdered, so this whole argument is, irrelevant. And the other thing I want to address is a lot of people say, well, he's a foster parent. He's a good man. He wouldn't do this kind of thing. Maybe he is a good man. That's not the point. The point is he did some bad things. Good people do bad things all the time. Good people make mistakes all the time. Usually those mistakes don't end in you losing your life, but if you make those mistakes in the right order, at the right time, in the wrong place, it can very easily end in you losing your life, and that's what happened here. As for the foster care thing, he was a professional foster care parent. He was someone who made a lot of money off being a foster parent. He made $115,000 a year for being a foster parent. To do that, you've got to take a lot of kids with special needs because you don't get a lot per kid. I'm a licensed foster parent. I've adopted 2 kids from the system because I didn't want to keep making money off of them as foster kids. I wanted to make them my children. Now, ask most licensed foster caregivers what they think of professional foster parents. You won't get a favorable opinion. They don't like it at all. In the case of most professional foster caregivers, children do not receive the care they should receive. These people take in as many kids as they can legally take in. They try to maximize their profits, and once the kids age out of the system, they're gone. They're somebody else's problem. So most foster parents will tell you, we don't like professional foster caregivers. We don't think they treat the kids right. We don't think the kids get what they need, and the kids just go on to become homeless, jobless, and a problem for everyone else. So if that's what you're basing your opinion on LaVoy Finicum on, that he was a foster care parent, that he was a professional foster care parent that made that much money, I'd research it a little more before I made any hard decisions on what kind of guy he actually is. Now, the last topic I want to address is racism, because in my previous video I said I didn't think racism played any part in this, but after reading the comments, I might be wrong. Unfortunately, it's not coming from the FBI or the local authorities. It's not reverse racism, as some people like to call it. It's just plain old racism. And it's coming from the people that are supporting Roy Finicum. I'll give you a perfect example of it here. Now, there's some people that are saying, I want to see more evidence. I want to hear the audio. I want to see the body cams. I want to see the dash cams. I want to see, absolute proof he deserved it. Well, I don't know where they're getting the idea that there'd be body cams, for one, because, the FBI doesn't always wear body cams. Local authorities around here don't wear body cams, so I doubt they exist. I mean, if they do, that's great, but I wouldn't bet on it. As for the dash cam footage, well, look at the cruisers. Look where they're all at. Look where all the cars that set up the roadblock are at. They attempted to make him stop in the road. That's the way they're set up for. They didn't know he would swerve off to the side. There isn't a single vehicle there that would actually have a vantage point from their cam to see him. Dash cams point forward. That's where they point. They're not something that rotates, moves around. They don't direct them at anything. They just point forward from the vehicle. They figured he'd stop in front of the vehicles, in front of the roadblock. He didn't. And as for the audio from the drone, well, there isn't really going to be any audio from the drone, nothing substantial, because the drone itself makes noise. So any noise that would overwhelm the noise of the drone that's being filtered out would be something really loud, like the flashbangs. The normal sound isn't going to make it up to the drone. So there's not going to be much in the way of an audio recording from the drone. It isn't even to be expected. Yet with all that taken into account, there's people saying, I want proof beyond a shadow of a doubt. Well, in 2 cases, 2 people, and they know who they are because I have banned them from my channel and let them know why I banned them from my channel. These are the same people that came in and said this on this video, but then when I went back and read their comments they made on my Michael Brown video, they're like, I don't care if there is video. I don't care what they did. If he ran from police, he deserved to be shot. If he put himself in that situation, he got what he deserved. And I'm like, he got what he deserved because he ran from police or didn't do as he was told, yet LaVoy Finicum is some kind of hero that you need, extraordinary proof to prove he deserved it? So what's the difference there? Why is there one level of proof needed for Michael Brown and another level of proof needed for LaVoy Finicum? Your motivation for that difference is questionable at best. And at worst, you're just a base racist. And I don't want you on my channel. I don't want you anywhere near my comment section, period. And that goes for other people who say, I'm unsubbing. Nothing demonstrates to me that you have a weak mind when you can say something like, I agree with you 95% of the time, but this time I don't, so I'm unsubbing. Well, that's great. You can't handle opinions that don't go right along with whatever you think. That's great. I don't want you on my channel either, so bye-bye. No one's going to miss you. Don't feel the need to tell us you're unsubbing. Just unsub and go away. Unless you feel like you need attention for some reason, then I guess go ahead and say something. But otherwise, just leave. So there's what I have to say about the things that have been said so far about my first video. Maybe this will be the last video on the subject. Maybe it won't. But for now, I just want to continue the conversation. You ain't even my real dad.